Hi and welcome to Find Photography. Today I'm out on a walkie-talkie with a friend. So I want to welcome you, Peter. Let's change the angle. Hi.
Hello everybody. I don't know if you know me, but I'm Peter Forsgard, a Finnish photographer and a YouTuber too, and I'm very happy to be in this channel. It's always nice to visit different channels and do some collabs because, you know, making YouTube videos is a lonely business, but like this it's great. And it's actually raining, which is a perfect weather for a street walkie-talkie.
Yeah,
photo
it's
walk.
the best weather for this. I love it when it
Yeah,
rains,
yeah.
I love it when it's dark, when it's snowing.
Yeah.
It's the best.
Hopefully it won't snow now.
Hopefully not, hopefully not. It's June, so.
Yes.
All right, Peter, so I have a question for you. When I do my channel, I feel sometimes that I'm very much looking for my own style. And so I wanted to talk with you about style today while we are walking and discussing what kind of, like, how do you find, or how have you found your style of photography or style of doing like being this creative style?
Well, it depends. I'm not sure if I have a very distinctive style. I've talked about this on my own channel too, because the problem is that I like so many different types of photography. Because I'm a portrait photographer for nature, but I love to do street photography, and I don't really do any portraiture that much. So that has kind of made my style a little, you know, all over the place. And some have said me that, okay, there is a style. Yeah, it might be, because it's always very hard for yourself to define. I think it's, you know, the other people can define.
I think so too. When friends say that hey, this is, I saw it instantly that this is your style.
Yeah, but even though I might not recognize it. And how to find a style, I think is, first of all, you have to think of if it's even important to find a style. You don't have to have a style necessarily. It depends on what your aim on, and especially if you're starting out, I don't think having a style is the first thing you need to worry about. More about this, just to photograph and see what you like, and then all of a sudden you start making patterns. Maybe it's a subject, maybe it's some feeling that you photograph, maybe it's a color, maybe it's black and white color, or whatever it is. And you start picking it up over the years, and then all of a sudden you might have some body of work which is something. It doesn't matter what it is. And then you found the style. But I don't think it goes the way that you decide this is my style. It doesn't work that way, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's probably true. And I discussed with Christian from Vasa about when he photographed like lost gloves around the city of Vasa, and he said that he didn't think that this would be a thing. But people really caught on to it, like so on social media and stuff like that, and said like, this is so cool that you go around and do this. So he started doing it, and in that way the style kind of grew out from what other people saw in his work, and not from his, like, it was not intentional. I could actually link to that walkie-talkie over here somewhere.
That's a good point, because I think it's what I was going to say, that it's not really that important for me or any other photographer just to do one type of photography. You do something on a certain time of period. You might photograph for a couple of years for a certain style, certain type of things, and then you switch. And there's one photographer, a Finnish photographer called Arno Rafael Minkkinen, who said that every photographer should reinvent them in 5 to 10 years. Do something else to be fresh. And I don't know if that's something. If you're just a hobbyist, don't worry about it. But if you want to be more professional, or you want to be a professional street photographer, for example, then yeah, that might be it. Because that keeps your mind fresh when you start doing new things, and then others might find you get a wider audience for your images if you have a different style. If you photograph the same thing all of your career, it might not be that successful. Well, it depends. Of course, what you want.
What does reinvent mean to you? If it like, or how do you look at the the idea of reinventing yourself?
Well, let's say that I've reinvented myself many times because I get bored with certain style, and that was late 90s, early 2000. I realized that for almost 15 years I've been taking the same image, which means that the style has been, the same. All the images look the same, the portraits look the same. Then I started taking street portraits, and that kind of gave me a new thing. Because when you're making portraits, you're looking for beauty. You want to make people as beautiful as possible.
Yeah. So you ask people to take their picture on the street or what?
Yeah, that came then. Yeah, I went out late at night and asked people, can I take a photograph?
Okay.
And that was before social media, so everybody was okay with it.
Yeah.
It was no problem at all taking pictures, street portraits. But I wasn't looking for beauty. I was looking for something different. A hat, a scar in the face, and made them really high contrast black and white.
Ah, okay.
So they looked not the beautiful.
Yeah.
But they were really
it was quite
character.
rough.
Yeah, rough.
Yeah.
And from that I kind of started making different types of portraits on my commercial work. Of course, not that rough, but it was different anyways. So that, and then I started doing street photography. Then I started doing test shots with Olympus cameras, and now I'm doing street photography again, a little bit different style. Watch out, that was close.
Yeah, so that would be cool to have this fall.
Yeah. Well, that's probably the long story in very short.
All right.
And I think it's has kept me interested in because finding something new. And then of course, one thing about style is that I don't think you should, like I already said, that you decide, you see someone is doing nice photography and I want to do that style. Yes, you can, but that's not very sustainable way of doing. You should just start photographing what you really want and just go for that, and don't worry what others say. Of course, you can have a mentor that can, guide your way, but don't go for the likes, like I always say. Go for the style that you want and images that you feel like you will be happy about.
Yeah, and that takes me to the problem with finding your style. Sometimes we get stuck on doing it for the likes, and also doing things that other people do and not think about what we want to do. And that's and for example, like YouTubers, you very often see, like when you find a new YouTube channel, it's like this blue and orange or teal color in the background, looks very fresh, and all that stuff. Yeah, and you know that this style works. That's why it's there.
Exactly.
At the same time. But at the same time, is this you? And that's something that I've started questioning in my own way of thinking. That am I doing what I want, or am I doing what these trends has told me that this is how it should look. I'm thinking often does it enhance my personality in a way?
Yeah,
and no, true. It doesn't. That's actually not who I am.
But also what makes it different is your personality, how you talk to the camera and what you say and how you move your hands and stuff. That's your personality. So even though you have the same kind of color, it's still
of course, it's
different.
still you.
And same thing goes with, like I was saying earlier, that don't copy anyone. But yeah, you kind of need to do that because everything has been photographed already.
Yeah.
So it's very hard to find something that has not been photographed or the way that hasn't been photographed. So don't worry about that. Just photograph. It will become your own style because if you start just being consistent, it will evolve to your style. Yeah. Even though it might seem that okay, this and that has done it before. Yeah. Just do it a little bit different. It will be different because if let's say that we take a picture of any of the buildings here, or any of the people walking, we all will make a different type of image anyway, even though the subject is the same. We see it differently and we try to do different things.
That's so true. So what's when you are out on the street, what's your triggers? What are the things that you like to photograph? What's part of your style when you're out on the streets?
At the moment, I like to photograph. Let's cross the street and I can demonstrate what I like to photograph. So, something like this, where you can see through.
Oh
windows.
yeah. The reflections.
You have a reflection here in the front, then you have something inside, and then you have something back there. Okay, this I wouldn't take a picture of this. It's not very interesting, but the idea.
Yeah, the idea to get like these different layers in a way.
Yes.
Yeah,
And
I love that too.
When some like the bike was reflecting, and then you might have something there.
Yeah.
And the problem usually is to get something happening in the reflection and the background.
Yeah. And at the same time, so that it's not too crowded.
Yes.
I tried once, one actually last time I was out just photographing, and I felt like it's actually not easy to create a photo that works. So that and in a way I would like the reflections to talk to each other, and without being like on top of each other. And then sometimes, of course, the reflections they make, like if it's a really dark, like it's more like a silhouette, then you can see in the silhouette something really. So that's probably what I'm looking for. That's
the unfortunate thing, that most of those reflections are silhouettes because we wear dark clothes.
Yeah.
You have red pants, and white shoes, which is like.
Yeah. That's something that pops up.
Yeah. And that's usually the problem with reflections, that people wear black, and you need to have something bright so that it will reflect as a silhouette. But that gets boring. But if people have some, colorful clothes, then it's.
Do you mainly shoot in black and white or color?
Color mainly, yeah.
Okay. Why?
Very little black and white nowadays.
Why is that?
I like colors. I don't know. Somehow colors are better. Sometimes, black and white. If I feel like doing classical photography, classical street, then it's black and white. Sometimes it works better, but I like colors.
Okay, yeah. Actually, I started out shooting only color. I hated to shoot black and white, and also had this idea in my head that people, like very often you can, like a shitty photo can be saved by black and white, and so I didn't even want to go there. It's not true, but I felt like it because I've seen a lot of people shooting quite bad photos and made them into black and white, and like for instance like wedding shots or something like that, and I'd be like, but this isn't not that good.
Yeah, but
so maybe
that is the one cliche that usually sometimes it might work, but usually if you have a good photograph, it doesn't matter if it's color or black and white. It works.
True.
Because it's more about, unless the color is the thing in the photograph, then of course black and white might not work. If something color has.
Yeah, if it takes away something when you take away the color.
Usually if you take a street photograph, it works both ways, unless the color is the thing.
Yeah. Sometimes when I shoot something and there's a lot of different colors, then I prefer it in black and white, just because it quiets the feeling down. Yeah. But anyways, actually I needed to check myself. So what I did was that I actually I started shooting in black and white just to learn it. And it helped me a lot because it changed my opinion, and nowadays I shoot mostly in black and white.
Yeah, that's also
I kind of thought, actually learned the idea of it, and it changed everything.
Yeah, that's a very good thing, because when I was talking earlier that change your style and find your style the way that you just photograph, and that's exactly the way to do it. That you start photographing and trying how it is in black and white. What can I learn from photographing black and white?
Yeah.
And it's a different world, because you can't, let's say that red and green looks exactly the same grayscale in so you have to know that, of course in image editing you can kind of switch those, but you have to learn what a color looks like in black and white, and it might be very dull in black and white. So but it's a good way to learn, to try something.
Yeah, and I saw this video on it was from some newer film with Johnny Depp, and I think I shared it today on my Instagram, or reposted it, because I think one thing that we should all learn, what the Johnny Depp's character said in that clip. He said that go out and fuck up. and I think that's so true. We need to fuck up to learn.
That is true.
Like
that is
it's
true.
so often we think that we should do like great photos all the time, and
no.
I think you said in one of your video, you said like if you shoot 12 photos
a year,
that are good.
I think it was. I don't know who said it first. It's not my.
Yeah, I've heard it. Similar.
Yeah, but that's kind of it. If you get one good shot per month, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Should we go in here?
Yeah, but let's do it.
Let's hope that there is no background music. Yeah, this one is. I always come here if I'm around this area because this is very interesting. If you come and look from here, if you want some reflections.
Oh damn!
If you look at here, straight here, and when it looks so cool.
Oh, that's cool.
Just find the.
Yeah, you get like these a lot, like multiple you.
When you're in a. It depends on when they move like that. I think it looks so great.
Yeah, it does. Hey, this was a great idea. I need to come here and do it.
Yeah, I found this. And actually, what happened, I showed one of my street photos to a client.
Okay.
And they wanted their photo taking right there. And then it's one great thing when you're photographing reflections or something like that. If you're afraid of photographing people in the streets, that's a great way because they don't know that you're photographing them. Some might notice, but they don't really care. So that's also a good way to practice if you feel a little bit intimidated.
Let's see if I can get these.
Yeah.
So what's the good sides with trying to find your style through looking at other people's work?
Well, the good thing is that then you have always something to photograph. Always, you know what you're going to do. That's a real thing.
You can have this reference photo.
Yeah, you always have like I have this one. The thing here.
Yeah.
Come here every time I walk past here.
Okay.
I will just check out if something happening here. If not, then I don't know.
Okay.
I always, and it's also when you have some kind of a style or a subject, it's easy way to start. You go out, you always have, like you were talking about the guy in Vaasa who photographs gloves.
Yeah.
You can always start with that. And then you start seeing other things once you first started with something.
Yeah.
You might photograph trash cans, for example.
Yeah,
Every trash can you see, you start seeing something else. And it doesn't have to be something big or anything. It could be a color. Let's say every time I see something yellow, I will photograph it. And then,
It becomes something.
It becomes something. But it doesn't mean that you have to do that only thing. You can, do different things.
Yeah. The reason I do these walkie-talkies is not, of course, my idea. It's from somewhere else. I think it's one of the first walkie-talkies that I saw was from Polly B, who walks around New York a lot and have discussions with different photographers, and through there I also learned, like, his name was like Brian Forsgard something. And what he did, he had this one project that he went around and he photographed notes that people had left around the city, because he started seeing that some people left like some papers and notes, and he started like photographing them, and also some of them he picked up and he took along and put them on a wall. So it becomes like this, something that actually wasn't that interesting in itself. It became pretty interesting, and it became like an adventure for him to just find these notes and look for like small, and it was like receipts where people have written like some things, or maybe just like a shopping list, but he took them and he took pictures when he found them, and it became something quite interesting, even though it was just like trash for most of people.
Yeah, that is interesting. What I have done is that I've at some point I photographed coffee cups that people have left, the cardboard they left somewhere, and photographed those. Most of the photos aren't that great, but it's a good starting point for me, and I do have a collection of those. Maybe I'll do something with them someday, or somebody in the future when I'm not here anymore, maybe somebody does something with them. I don't know.
Yeah, you will be like the Vivian Meyer of photo cups.
I don't think so.
or cups.
I don't think so. but yeah. Let's see if we can find something through the.
I really enjoy coming to this place.
Actually a tram stop now. There used to be a bus stop, but it's a tram stop now.
Yeah.
Let's see what we can find.
I have taken a lot of picture around this one because it's very interesting.
Yeah. And what I've heard that they were horrendously expensive
Okay.
when they built these.
Probably, but it was some designer that
Yeah.
did this, of course,
Yeah,
and
it
all
is.
that. So, what's the problem with just doing what other people do, or like just following trends?
If you just follow trends, you don't invent anything new, or you might not be true to yourself. You might not photograph what you want to photograph. It's just then you photograph for the likes, which doesn't lead you anywhere, in my opinion.
I think often, like now that you mentioned likes, that the problem is often, like with a lot of us, and this is the same thing with school grades, that we start valuing ourselves from something outside of ourselves. We value, like for instance, if we get like an A in a test, we say that I'm an A student. That means, or an A person. So that's the, I think that's the biggest problem that we, and also like same thing with likes. That hey, I posted this picture, I really loved it. It was the best picture ever, and then I get like 10 likes from it. And if 10 likes is very little for you, it can put you down.
Well, it can, yeah.
Yeah, because you think like, hey, nobody liked this, and that's not the truth.
No,
like
not
in it at all. It doesn't have to do at all with that.
No.
It might be like a lot of different factors that has to do with it. But then again, if you shoot something like a beautiful sunset set and put it online, then you will probably get a lot of likes.
Oh, yes.
No matter how boring the picture
Exactly.
is, because it's a beautiful sunset,
Yeah,
and people can somehow easily relate to it, but at the same time it doesn't give you or your creativity any kicks.
Yeah, that was something great color.
Yeah.
There's actually one more thing that I want to
Yeah,
say
yeah.
is about is there any downsides when you're having a style? And
Yeah.
that is if you get stuck with the style.
Okay.
And if it comes a burden in a way that you need to photograph something that you might not even want, but the style is not kind of the main thing, but it needs to come naturally. You just photograph and voila, it is a style. But if you force it and get stuck with it, then it's a bad thing. It might, now there's a tram, you might lose your interest in photography. It might become a kind of like a forced thing. You force yourself to photograph, and then it's no good.
Isn't that kind of like the same problem that a lot of like photo YouTubers or YouTubers like have, that they kind of get stuck that I need to make this video. It's like Monday I need to post.
Yeah, but if
so
that's
in a way the same problem.
Yeah, but if that's the feeling, then don't.
Yeah, exactly. We
Right.
should be able to
And
kind of stop.
That's one reason what I was saying about reinventing yourself. That
Yeah.
helps if you just do something else or different way. Even
Yeah.
though it's the same thing.
One thing that I in my work I've done a lot of like lecturing and things like this, and I realized that it was quite boring at some point, and I realized that, and then I questioned myself like, why is this boring to me? Why don't I feel like doing this? And that helped me actually to do something new.
Yeah.
I did a small change that I was like, hey, what if I try this? I have never done it, and it feels a bit scary to go there and do
Of
but I'll
course.
try it.
Yeah.
And I realized when I did that, it changed my view on, and it wasn't boring anymore because I tried something new. And I think at the same time as it can be quite scary, it might be the thing that we need to actually push forward. It has been a really interesting discussion.
It has, yes.
Something that you would like to end this discussion with?
I think the most important thing is that when you go out and photograph, it's about enjoyment. Have fun. That's the main thing. That's what I always try to do. It's not about your style, not about getting all those keepers and bangers and likes, but have fun and enjoy the act of photography. Just being out there and taking the photograph. Even though it's nothing, I think it's very enjoyable, and try to embrace that.
I think that's so true. Keep it fun, and some days it's not fun,
Yeah.
and then it's better to go home
Yeah,
and
then just go
take
home.
like a new day, new
Yeah.
idea, new thought. As I always end my talks, Thank you very much for joining me.
My pleasure. It's a lot of fun.
Don't give up your daydream.